So FPM is a highly configurable user interface framework. With the help of code generators, predefined elements such as floor plans, toolbars, generic user interfaces, building blocks, FPM reduces the amount of coding and makes easy and efficient application development. So this is something which is important for us to note. It reduces the amount of coding. And makes easy and efficient application development. So this is a helpful framework for the developer to build an application. Not something a business oriented framework. It's a developer oriented framework, which ultimately reduces the amount of coding effort, testing, and delivers a consistent application. So this supports different level of adaptations like user-based, context-based adaptations. Now the features of FPM, SAP defined flow plan, combination of UI patterns arranged in a specific order in an application. This is called defined floor plans. There are 3 different floor plans with us. OVP component, overview pages, GAF, guided activity framework, OIF, object instance framework, using which you will be having a focus only on OVP, overview pages. OIF is something which is not implemented in MDG, so we don't actually discuss about OIF. JF is only implemented in mass change, where there is a 0% of scope to do any enhancements in JF. There is no scope there. It's ready to be used applications. The only place we would require enhancements is OVP. So this is something that we will be discussing. Now, each OVP has various building blocks to display the content. Generally, people from SAP would understand there is an ALV grid to display the content, right? ALV reports. And there are some text containers for you to enter the long text. And there are some table controls. There are some trees. If I go back to the system, just a moment. So this is a tree in which I am able to display the data based on the parent and child nodes. This is one way of representing the data. And there is something called list. Different format of changing the data, displaying the data. Right? Similarly, FPM also has a concept of generic UIBBs, templates for displaying the data. We have pie charts, we have tables, we have trees, we have notes, other form of displaying the data. And we generally have screen designers, screen painter. We call it as screen painter in SAP for module pool programs. To position the fields, to give the title of a window, we have an editor where we can design a screen in ECC. Similarly, in FPM, We have fluid editor to design to manage a web page. It is called as flexible user interface designer. This is something we discussed. And a concept of feeder class. A feeder class provides a link between the application and the generic user interface building block, UIBBs. The feeder class contains the below logic, contains the business logic behind an application. We have various interfaces. To display the data in a form, we have the form interface. To display the data in list, we have the list interface. To display the data in search tree, a launchpad, accordingly we have various interfaces to be implemented. And there are these two methods called get definition, get data, which are common in all the interfaces. Get definition is a method which defines the field catalog of the component and supplies the component at runtime to the application. And get data is something to populate the data on the UIBB. So to make it simple on a screen to understand, let's say this is a plain web application, plain web page. In this, I need to add, say, customer number. How can I add it? Do we have any people from ABAP technical here?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. In module pool, if we have to add an attribute on a screen, where do we get the attribute?
We'll get it from the input variables which will be in the side. You'll have to drag it from there.
How does it come in the side? The attribute should be available somewhere on the side, right?
Screen painter.
Yeah, that screen painter, yeah.
In the screen painter. So where does the attributes will come into the screen painter? We have two options, get from program and get from dictionary.
Yeah, from data dictionary we can add the table, and then all the fields that we want to add, we can drag it from there. For example, if you want material field to be added from, yeah, you can. You'll get it.
Either we go take a reference of data dictionary or we take a reference of from program where you have some global attributes. You can get that into screen painter, right? We have two options. Now similarly in FPM, if we want to get an attribute to do drag and drop, we need to get that attribute somewhere on the repository. Let's say fields or attributes. There would be some attribute somewhere on the left hand side. We will drag onto a UI. So these attributes will come from get definition method.
So Karthik, if you are telling in this, like, so if we need to get any field, new fields, then we have to declare that table or field into get definition and it will get populated in FPM.
Correct.
Okay.
It's a perfect understanding. Yeah. Name is a field which has come from get definition. And let's say there is a value for a field called name. How does that value will come to this UI? We have something called PBO generally, right? In
Yes.
module pools. Similarly, we have a method called getData, which will get the data from a database and it populates the data on this attribute value. So attributes will come with get definition and values for those attributes will come from get data. This is important for us to understand. Any questions on this?
No, means now it mix two things, like the table structure what we are defining in get definition will be only the structure. The data will come from get data.
Correct.
So all the select query what we are going to use in get data and the structure we are going to use in get definition.
Correct. Okay. So ultimately for every UI which we are designing, there should be get definition and get data has to be implemented. These two are part of feeder class. Okay. Every UIBB will have a feeder class. When I'm saying I'm designing this screen, I'm saying this is a UIBB, user interface building block. This UIBB will have a feeder class behind it. Else my UIBB cannot function on its own. No. This is an FPM OVP component which has multiple UIBBs in it. Business partner details is a GUIBB. This is a guided activity application which has step-by-step process. Determine entity type, define the selection, define the file structure. If step 1 is not completed, I cannot go to step 2. Step 2 is not completed, I cannot go to step 3. This is called a guided activity. This is also part of MDG application in file download. This is the fluid editor using which we will design a page. So left side we are seeing this is a navigation repository where we can see a list of pages, main page, sub pages, 8 pages, or if we are designing a screen we can see the list of attributes.
So
And when we are,
Karthik, you have, sorry to
okay.
interrupt. Actually, you have mentioned three components, right? CAF, it's BAF, OVP, and so in this FPM screen, can you please separate those components in the previous screen? Which is the GAF component, which is the OVP, and which is another one you mentioned.
OF, overview information,
Yeah,
OVP.
OF. Yes, in the screen, FPM screen, the next screen that you showed with the roadmap. Yeah, so here, how can we differentiate the components?
No, you're seeing the step-by-step roadmap, correct? It's a component called, it's an GIF,
Yes.
Wherever you are
So
seeing it's a
GF. Okay. Okay.
roadmap is GF. And when you are
Okay.
seeing this multiple UIBBs over here, it's a OVP component.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And this is some navigation path.
So Karthik, like we'll not have any requirement to have additional steps for GF. We'll have only to enhance the OVP.
Correct.
Okay.
So I would say now this breadcrumb is something called navigation path. That means from where we are navigating to this specific application. What is an application name? What is a UIBB name? And what is the configuration name for that? Is what we will see the drill down application name report. And these are the technical attributes panel. What is a technical field name? What is a label for the field name? All those things. And we have various other views. We can have preview, we have some settings, menu schema and other stuff available here. This is an overview of Fluidator. Now, I would like to explain the sample structure once I start building an application. Then it would make more sense for us to understand this hierarchy. So let me go back and create one basic FPM application. For that I'm using a T code called FPM underscore WB. FPM underscore WB. And this I would like to create a application via wizard. Now I'm creating a Web Dynpro application. This application will implement the components here. For us, we will be going with overview page. And the moment I click on this overview page, I got two proposals here. One I would say, this is application configuration. So I would say AC and floor plan configuration. So I would say FC. Generally people will say the floor plan configuration as component configuration.
Karthik, hello.
Yeah.
Karthik, could you able to like this screens from where you got, because the small disconnection was there from my side, so I missed like how you have opened this screen.
The moment I launch this FPM underscore WBT code, this is where the application which landed up.
Okay.
Here I selected wizard for creating empty FPM application. Then the next
Okay.
page opened.
Okay, fine.
Karthik,
Yeah.
like in normal ECC, we have several T codes to do, like for example, to create any material in this. So in MDG, we have FPM applications to do anything.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
So we need to understand we have a application name, and that application has some application configuration, and it has some component configuration also. 3 things. Okay. Next I click on save. What happened now? Web Dynpro application, the configurations are successfully created. Now I'll execute the application. I got an application name called customer details, but I don't have any information on this web page. Right, so what I'll be doing, I'll add some details, like I'll add some title to this application. For this I need to go to the configuration called Fluid Editor, because Fluid Editor is the place where I will manage or design the web application. And so I have some page types here. I'm saying this is customer maintenance, then I'll come to this page and refresh. You can see that customer maintenance is a page title which has come up here. This web page will have some subsections. How do we split a page into multiple subsections is what now we'll discuss. There is one section which can be split horizontally or vertically. Now in this page we have master area, section and UIBBs. Now a master area is something but the entire page is called as a master area. And section is something that you can divide this main page into multiple sections, 2 different sections, horizontal split and vertical split. But generally in MDG we'll go only with one section. And then each section will have UIBBs. Analytics chart, form, list, poll, search, tab, tree, so on. So I'll select form UIBB. I'll give a name for this. This configuration does not exist. I'm right now giving some name.
I think it is UI modeling, right? So in UI modeling, we're using FPM.
Correct. I'm saying it's a form. Now this name does not exist. The configuration, whatever zcast 02 does not exist. Now I need to create the configuration. So I'm saying configure UIBB. I don't have the configuration name. System says, do you want it to create it? Yes. I will save and I'll create the configuration. Now system is asking me to provide the feeder class which is mandate. See here it's star mark. That means I need to give the feeder class name. Now what we discussed, for any feeder class, jet details 02. This is the feeder class which right now does not exist, but I would say I'm creating this feeder class. Now just let's try to copy paste this and see what error that system will throw. What does it say? It says this does not implement the feeder interface. We selected the form component and we did not implement the feeder interface. The interfaces which we talked over here. In this there is a form interface. We did not implement that. So let me go to the class and I'll implement that interface. If I implement that interface, automatically system will bring me some methods. Now all methods of this interface has to be implemented as a principle of OOPS. Now all the methods have been implemented. Okay, I just need to refresh this. I'll say configure UIBB. Now I'll give the feeder class name. Our system says the feeder class has no parameters. Here I don't have any parameters to display on the left hand side. Feeder class does not provide any valid field catalog. So for this, what did we discuss? That for every feeder class there would be a method called getDefinition and getData. The field catalog should be generated in the getDefinition method. So in this I have some exporting parameter. I will just pass some values to this exporting parameter. I'll go back and I'll again come back. Now I got all the list of attributes which are coming from KN event table. I can search customer, number, and I can say I can search for name, city, and street. The lens can be adjusted. So if we look at this application, this will give us a platform where someone can actually extend the field till D, E, F, G, H. That means based on each column they are extending it. If we leave this platform to a developer like you, we have model pool screen painter, it is really hard for us to maintain the consistency at, I should say the alignment. Bringing this alignment is little difficult. Now I have these 4 fields. Then I'll say customer maintenance fault. I'll refresh. I would see all these 4 details available. And this specific UIBB does not have any name. So what I'll do, I'll go back to the UIBB.
That window name we are going to change.
Yeah. So in the attribute panel, I would say basic details. Okay, any questions so far?
Karthik, is it possible to change the name of each field, like customer to some customer details or something like that, or it will directly come from the database only? I'm saying.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get that initial part.
The customer, right? So it's a
Uh-huh.
customer and it has a field assigned to it. So can we rename the customer to customer details or customer data, something like that? Or
Yes, we can do it.
how can we do that?
We select this attribute, we go to this attribute panel. Or we can come here.
Okay, so it's editable. Okay.
Karthik, one doubt I have, that typecasting which you used in the method, could you please explain it a bit, because I'm not very sure how that works.
Yeah. So it's one liner that is given in an FPM developer guide. Okay, we just need to give the structure name which is there in SE level. You pass the structure name, automatically it will build the field catalog accordingly.
Yeah, Karthik, but why are we passing this typecasting? I mean, like this class will have this method, which I understand described by name, which will have the parameter where you need to pass the table, or maybe even the custom table for whom you need to get all the fields. But I mean, like, what is the why this typecasting is? We could have written directly equals to also. I mean, like, I don't know, but why this typecasting is used?
Okay. So this is something, this design pattern influences this typecasting. Now this is coming from a parent class. There is something called ABAP structure descriptor, right? On top of this ABAP structure descriptor, there is something called ABAP type descriptor. Complex descriptor. So all the logic will run in this superclass. Again from the data descriptor. So from there it has to identify the subclass and then identify the method, then push the data. So from superclass to subclass, system cannot identify it, right? There should be a casting for that. Subclass can identify superclass, but superclass cannot identify subclass.
Yes, and okay.
Yeah. Okay, so keeping this discussion aside, this is the UI preparation. Hope so far we are clear with this, right? Any questions?
I think one question, see, currently we are using, Karthik, we are using KNA1 table, okay? So suppose we are completely customizing this and some of the fields are totally not available in any of the table. And so in that case, we are going to create a table type, table, I can say create a table to store the data, or it will be a table type structure only what we are going to consume into the FBB.
Not definitely required. Now if you see, EVO field catalog is a structure type.
Correct.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Now, if you are able to populate the values in this format, I'll just show you the format. You would not necessarily require to populate EVO underscore field catalog all the time.
Okay.
If you are able to populate these components
Uh-huh.
via coding manually, then you should not require any SE11 structures created.
Okay.
Okay. For this, right now we took the concept called creation by name, describe by name, correct?
Yes.
There will be
Okay.
something called describe by data also. You define one
Data by
internal table.
got it.
In that internal table, fields will be automatically created as
Describe by name, describe by data first
describe
one.
by, describe by data object type.
Correct.
Okay, so using this you can actually get it.
Okay.
Various ways to do it.
Okay.
Okay. Now whatever I'm doing, this is not at all related to MDG. Yeah, this is completely independent of MDG. I'm trying to introduce you an FPM base application creation. Now if I want to populate the data, I'll say select star from KNA1 into LS KNA1 where equals to Now I need to pass this to CS underscore data. This is something using which I will send the data back to the application. So initially the values are empty and now I change the data, right? From initial values to I'm changing some data. So for this I need to pass EV data if changed. Now I'll refresh the application again. I got the customer name, number and city. Since the customer number is a key field, we should not change it. So we need to make it read only. Right? So I'm going to change the field usage. So I'm saying I'm changing the field usage here. I'm changing it. So I have all the field properties in CT underscore field usage. When KU NNR, what should I do with the Kunnar field? When name one, what should I do with the name one? When city, what should I do with the city name? Right? We have three different fields. If it is Kunnar, I'm saying this is as read only. And for name one, I'm saying this is as mandatory. Right? Name has become mandatory. Customer has become read only. And if you wanted to, hide some of the attributes, we can hide the attributes also. We have some coding, same coding for it. Let me take street for the same. Visibility has some value like 01 and 02. Just let me check. Yeah, visibility has gone for straight. So this way we can control the field properties of an FPM application. Any questions?
Karthik, we can get some documents regarding the properties of, like what properties we can set, or we have to just go and check in the class only.
You'll get it. So there is an FPM developer guide for the same. FPM developer guide. Okay, let's say get definition. They have given the piece of logic. What to use. They have given some process events. You can refer to this guide, which I'll be sharing. I think which I have already shared. You can make use of this document and try to explore, if you want to practice anything. But what I wanted to say after this exercise, since this is something called, an FPM application development, we are doing all these things by our cells as a developer. In MDG, we don't even do all these things. There are some very generic applications, very generic feeder classes, which will automatically understand your data model attributes and provide you the field catalog and provide you the data onto the field catalog and enable disable fields based on the configurations that you do. You don't write any piece of code. You don't write the piece of code to generate the field catalog in get definition. You don't write the piece of code like select statements in get data. You don't write it, and you don't write any piece of code to manipulate the field properties. Instead, you guys spend some time on FPM development guide. You rather spend that same time on another MDG application configurations. Yeah.
So, Karthik, if somebody means some standard is there or somebody asks for to hide some field, mandatory some field that time?
All are possible using some configurations.
No need of code level change?
No need. No need of code level changes. This should be your last option. Okay.
Okay. Karthik, just one thing that we are completely customizing the screen, but as we know that already FPMs are there for standard screens, so we are going to enhance sometimes, correct?
Yes, we are going to enhance it.
So very rare cases will be there for development. So in that, how to identify the module pool and this FPM, which FPM we need to use?
Right. So I'm going on to the on the same topic now.
Okay.
So let's say you have a application name given. How do you identify the details? You do right click, go to technical help. You need to put the cursor on somewhere of that specific application in a section. This will give the application configuration, component configuration, and UIBB configuration. So in the application configuration, we can see that whether this application can have some scrollable mode, whether this application can be editable, this application can be rendered in some HTML pages, are only internet based, what is the theme of the application. All application executable properties will be set at a application configuration level.
So it is specific to one field or total field in the whole screen?
Total field. It is an entire application level.
Okay.
Now this application configuration will have the component configuration assigned to it. Now if I click on this component configuration, I got the component, OIB component, fluid editor. Now using component configuration, what we can do, we can design the pages. and each page how many UIBBs we can add. And UIBB configuration level, what we can do, we can go inside the UIBB and design the UI template for it. This is an architecture which I'm talking about in the guide. Application will have an application configuration. It will have a floor plan configuration or component configuration, or each floor plan will have multiple UIBB configurations. Any questions?
Karthik, can you able to open any like customer thing and we'll check that the FPM name what it is coming? Screen with the right click.
Okay, I'll open. In WBC. Or I have here already. Search business partner. Technical help. Now I got application name as BSOPPP
Okay.
and there's an application configuration. There's a component configuration.
Okay. So now we are going to enhance the filter. If we suppose we want to add any field, so we can do here in configuration with the federal class, correct?
Correct.
So, okay, fine. Okay, fine.
Think how to get feeder class here in standard one. Just previous screen.
So you go to, let's say, there is a UIBB. I put my cursor here, right click, technical help. I can select this application, component configuration, and then go to JVB configuration. Or I can do it directly here itself. Click on this BS_BR roles. Here I have feeder class. I'll get the feeder class name. This is how you get it. This was the question, Shabib.
So in this feeder class, get data and get definition should be there, huh?
Yeah. It has to be.
Can you repeat, Karthik, this step? Can you go and fetch the feeder class again? I missed.
Get data, get definition. Sorry. Get definition. Okay, as you asked, again we'll go back. We'll select the UIBB, click on technical help. We'll get the UIBB name. Then we have an option called feeder class. On selecting it, it will come automatically.
But Karthik, if we want to add any field, so we have to customize this feeder class, right? So we have to copy this feeder class and we have to make a Z and then we have to make it assigned to this particular section.
We have enhance option here.
Okay.
Click on that. This page will be editable for you. Okay. Then you will have an option to change the feeder class also. Now, how do you do the changes is you can take the feeder class, you take this class as a super class, inherit that into your custom class and you give the custom class here. One way of doing it. Or you take the feeder class, you go and enhance it here. Do a post exit. Second way of doing an implementation. Right? So either this or that, two approaches you can follow. Hope you got the point.
So generally the right way is post exit, right? It will be easy for us.
Yeah. Post exit would be the right way. Okay, now let's try to complete this. Now this is the application configuration. What is this application configuration is meant for? To control application execution properties. Floor plan to design pages. And sections. And UIBB configuration design UI. right? The purpose of these three configurations are controlling application execution properties, to design the pages and section, and to design the UIBB. Is something structure of an FPM application. Now, instead I do this, I wanted to understand now MDG UI structure. So far we understood only FPM structure, right? Now we need to understand how an MDG UI application structure will be. So this is, sorry?
Hello, that Karthik, that coding you just write down, but how is work is not showing in the previous screen. Some visibility or something you write down for field, but how is work?
I didn't get that. I didn't get your question.
In previous there is some you are write down some coding, okay, for
Correct.
your customer. So how is work according to coding? Just can you show whatever you write down the code in that block?
You want to see the code?
No, this code how is work? Read only, then visibility. How is affect the screens?
No, so these are the field names which we have given on a UI, right?
Okay.
These are the field names which I have given on a UI. Now for each UIBB, this is the UIBB. There will be a feeder class, correct?
Yes.
So in the feeder class, I took the get data method, and I know what are the UI elements are available on a UI. When that UI is coming, so this is a round trip. The moment I open this place, do some action, again the same get data will trigger. The moment it triggers, I am saying if the field name, if you are displaying the field name called Kunnar, I am saying that you should become read only. So the moment I set it, and I'll manipulate all the properties in CT field usage, and automatically UI will get adjusted based on the properties which I'm setting here.
The only way to change it, is there any other way to make it mandatory or read only?
This is the only way. From the FPM perspective. Not MDG FPM UIs. Only from FPM perspective.
Okay. Okay, Karthik.
Yeah.
Karthik, suppose there's a requirement where we have to, add a field, something like description or reason, something like that in a UIBB. So in that case, like they may ask us to, edit, make some changes on that and save in the database. Like suppose, so it will also how will it get saved in the database in that case? Like what are the coding patterns to save that particular reason in the database? Like I hope you're okay.
I understood your question. You are talking about MDG perspective or a normal FPM perspective?
Yes, MDG perspective. Like
So
if there may be a requirement.
Then we need to wait for next 20 minutes.
Sorry?
You'll get this
Okay.
answer in next 20 minutes. Yeah, we'll be discussing.
Okay, and one more thing. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, Abhiraj, please continue.
No, okay. Karthik, just one thing, like, see, currently we have seen that the standard, where is the federal class and all. Just I wanted to know that if addition will be okay, fine. But if any strange thing like someone is last, like here customer is there, then they will say that, okay, in the place of customer, say that customer name or some description change they will ask. It will be done into that FPM level only, or it will go and change the backend level?
It will be changed in the FPM level only.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Fine. So there will be no issue while changing.
There will be some options available in backend as well. Example.
No, so my question was there.
I understood
if
you.
I'll try to change it. Okay.
I understood you.
So it will not impact. Okay.
If you wanted to change the label of a UI attribute,
Standard UI. Yes.
but not in the backend, right?
Correct. Yes.
For attribute, you have description here.
Correct.
If you change the description, it will only impact in MDG. Okay, this is not coming from the data element.
Okay.
So now let's go back to our MDG screen and try to understand that. This is an MDG application, right? So I do a right click somewhere. I'll go to this application. Now here, all MDG applications are adaptable OOP components. There is a concept called CBA, I think you might have heard about it in MDG, right? So the CBA would come from this adaptable OOP component, which we'll have a discussion about this later. But this is the component. From here, if you look at the application, I'm trying to explain you the structure. There will be an application. SOP means single object processing. There will be an application configuration using ESMD OPGen. Using this, you will be having this is an application name, and this is an adaptable OOP. And this is the OVP, which you are seeing here. There's an application name, BSOOP BP. Since this is a BP application, you are seeing BP OOP. Else you would have seen ESMD OPGen. And this has an adaptable OOP, and this has an OOP component. Inside the OOP component, I'm going into display mode. I have initial page, main page, and some other 8 pages. So I have initial page, I have main page, and some other edit and dialog box pages, further pages. Now further pages is optional. It depends on how big your application is. Even sometimes initial page will be optional. You don't need to search. Initial page has two different sections, search section and result section. That's what called as initial page. And main page has the change request UIBB details and entities related to your type 1 and type 4 in the data model. Now there is something called change request UIBB. This UIBB will come automatically if you maintain the communicator settings. So every MDG application will have communicator settings. We don't design this change request UIBB. That will come from a communicator settings automatically.
Think that change request UIBB means change request general data section.
Correct.
So if you enhance in change request general data section, that will be same way or is something different from other?
Same way. The concept of doing enhancements in MDG is the same way that we are doing an FPM changes. That's why I introduced FPM initially, not going directly into MDG. Now you understood that every UIBB in MDG should have a feeder class. So then you can go to change request feeder class and add your attributes, populate the values to it. Okay. Now,
I think no any body or anything is required here. Nothing.
nothing is required. Now, we need to understand that there is roles and there is a configure UIBB for it. So there is a feeder class parameters. In feeder class parameters, we have given a component called Bupa and object name called baby role. And we are saying editable. So the moment we give these two things, now an FPM application will be linked with the MDG framework. I repeat, the moment if we assign the component and object names to an FPM application, it will link with an MDG framework. If we assign this, then automatically on the left hand side, you can see the differentiated type, partner number, valid from valid to. This left hand side fields, the field catalog will be generated automatically. Field catalog of this UIBB is generated automatically by the linkage. And values to derive the data is automatically derived from the linkage. We don't need to write any get data code, get definition codes by this linkage. Please raise a question if you have any.
For a business partner, it is Bupa. For material, for finance, is there how to?
There will be different components. I'll talk about it. Okay. So Now we need to understand the sequence, how this gets executed. Now there is an FPM UI application, right? FPM UI will connect with BOL, the component which you have seen, BUPA. The same component will connect with Genail. Again, this is also BUPA only. Now Genail will connect with, that means the BUPA component will connect with MDG related abstract classes in the backend. MDG abstract layer has some technology, some coding inside it, which will identify whether the data model is reuse mode or a flex mode. If it is reuse mode, it will go to access class, and access class will call SMT mapping, and SMT mapping will call ECC related data. If it is not reuse mode, then abstract class will call staging. This is an execution sequence of every MDG application. Okay. Here, what is the role of BOL? Where do we need to connect to BOL? So any values which are given on a UI, we have so many complicated applications. The basic application which we see in FPM customer details is a very small application. We have so many main pages. We have edit pages. Inside edit there will be one more edit page. Again inside one more edit page. Like that there would be complicated applications which has more data inside it. Now if I wanted to validate this edit page details, which is nested level 3 in the main page, I need to hold all these pages, main sub-pages in some buffer. That buffer is available in BOL. BOL is to hold UI buffers. Okay. When we say BOL, it's business object layer. Any questions here? Okay. Now from BOL, the connection will pass to Genail. Now Genail is a concept generic interface layer. Now any UI changes which are happened or any backend changes which are happened. Example, you have added a field in the data model. You have make a field as mandatory in the data model. You have done some settings in the data model. You don't need to do any code changes in a FPM UI feeder class at get data and get definition. All those changes will be accommodated by Genail model. consists of integration, logic between bowl and MDG abstract. If we just talk to general, it will give you the field catalog, it will give you the data. You don't need to do any coding. Okay. Any questions till Janil?
In which case, we have to do the coding mandatory?
You don't need to do coding in any case in MDG. Yeah.
Okay.
In MDG there is no coding. Now the execution sequence, if it is an FPM, instead of FPM, if there is a UEFI application, it will talk to OData, OData talk to abstract layer, and from there the sequence will be same. But here there is no general, it's directly OData. So the tight integration between, general, abstract layer is missing. Everything will be manual coding in UEFI application. Everything is coding in UEFI application. Even to bring the list of values in F4 help, it's coding. Adding an attribute, coding. Adding an additional validation in UI, it's coding.
Currently, Karthik, the still the MDG screen are mostly using FPM, or they are moving slowly to UI5?
Right now, you have both, starting from S4 HANA, but what customers are implementing is a question. Right? Whenever we are going to implementation, we are proposing both pros and concerns. Because when SAP comes and sell them, they will show all the Fury applications in the sliders.
Yes.
They will say, you have latest advanced technology in MDG and all other stories about, sales thing. But when we actually propose the ETA's impact, then we would say going with FPM application should save you a lot many things in terms of, application developments.
Okay. So like if I'll ask, like still the UI5, what the standard UI5, in that also customer details, materials, everything is coming, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. So now I want everyone to practice one custom FPM application. Like you can take Mara as an example for yourself, or any table which is comfortable for yourself, and do a Z application and manipulate the field properties like how I did. And tomorrow we will be designing a new UI, MDG UI application. So we would be exactly designing the same way how SAP has designed. You'll be seeing the search application, result application, and other mail pages.
Okay, in FPM. Okay.
In MDG, FPM, yeah.
Okay, in MDG FPM. Okay. So Karthik, just before close, like I have one question that I kept for last. See, you said that we can able to configure UI5 as well as FPM. So, like, is there any linkage? Is there like if suppose a customer asks, no, I want to switch to UI5, that will be a custom, not a standard one. So, is there any linkage? Is there where we can able to choose and move to a custom UI5 application?
No, there is no linkage.
Okay.
You have to route. It's completely a manual program, complete manual program. You don't have any place where you can configure a UI5 application in MDG AMG.
And the similar way with FPM also.
No, FPM we have all the configuration points available.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. You can see in UM modeling, you will see what all configurations we'll be doing.
Correct. Okay.
Karthik, I will cover mapping concept.
Which mapping?
There is in Node, I saw that in MDG IMG some mapping is there.
Yes. We have key mapping, value mapping, SMT mapping. All these three mappings will be covered. Okay.
So like how to save it in the database will be covering tomorrow.
Sorry?
If we want to add a new
I could not hear you, so I missed
Hear
it.
me also.
Yeah. Hello, is it audible?
No, again I'm missing it.
Okay, I'll just reconnect.
I think you should come to close to your mic.
Karthik, am I, hello?
Yeah, now it's clear.
Karthik, is it okay now? Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, the question that I was asking, like if we want to add a new text field with reason in a UIBB, so like reason, if we want to save it into a database, so how do we do that? So you'll be covering that tomorrow?
So that you will be adding as a new entity attribute.
Yes. Yes.
The moment you add that attribute, you go to the UIBB, okay, in UI. You go to enhance option. Since your UI is already connected to the general model, you will see that new attribute available in MDG UI. You drag and drop, it will automatically start say available in staging table.
Okay, so it will be available in the staging table. Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, and one more thing, like if we want to check like what is the staging table in the backend for the UIBBs and the workflows and the BRF configurations that is there in the backend for each UIBB. So how can we do that? How can we identify?
No. So one thing we need to understand, the staging tables are not related to workflows or not related to UIBBs. Staging tables are related to entities.
Okay.
Okay. So I hope you already know this. We have a T code called MDG data model. In this, it will give you a data model name. And you will see the list of staging tables for every entity.
Yes, and like each UIBB is mapped with a workflow, so it is not related to
No, 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 no,
FPM.
no,
It
no, no,
is
no.
okay. Okay.
Each UIBB is not related to workflow. Each UIBB is assigned to general model, right? If you see, a UIBB is linked with feeder class, right?
Yes.
A feeder class has some parameters. Feeder class parameters. So feeder class parameters linking to what? General component. Okay. This will be nothing but your entity.
Okay.
So that means
Okay.
UIBB is linking with an entity in your data model. So the moment you enhance your data model entity with the custom attribute, and here you are pointing out to the same entity, that attribute will be available on your left hand side, somewhere here. All you need to do is, after enhancing the data model, you come to MDG UI and start clicking enhancement and do a drag and drop. The field will be available on a UI, and the values of the field will be automatically saved in the staging table.
Okay.
Yeah, Karthik, but sometimes see, if I am belongs to manager, okay, so the UIBB should be different than the person to person. So how can you do that based on role?
That we will discuss based on the adaptation concept.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay then. We'll catch up tomorrow. And tomorrow I will be doing an exercise of this UABB creation and everything. I think tomorrow most of your questions will be answered. There is a concept of CBA, field properties, as well, which we need to discuss.
Is there every user you have to assign data model like that? Is there?
Correct.
Is there a concept like that?
Correct.
So what is that functionality? Why user you have to assign one user to data model? If you are not assigned, then what is the effect? Or it is mandatory? Or is this concept?
User to data model?
Yeah, user to data model. Every user
No,
to
we
data
don't
model.
assign the user to data model. We don't assign user to data model, but we assign user to an application role.
Okay.
Okay, that's concept of, again, securities and role assignments, which will have a different discussion. That is also part of our discussions.
So all are covered, huh?
Yeah. All these things are covered. Okay. Thank you all. Let's catch up tomorrow. I think today still we can go next, I think 30 minutes, but I don't want to get into more because today we are discussing technical things. So I want you to, go back and come up with the questions. I think you might also have some issues with the system. Someone of you might not have a developer access. If you have that concern, just immediately send a mail to Accusoft team. They should be giving you developer access. Also, even to ensure that you have complete access, you need to sit in front of the system. Okay, so let's catch up tomorrow then. Thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.